you're being a lot more deliberate, and you're actually seeing the trajectory of your efforts building and compounding. So I applaud you for that. That's fantastic. Let's talk about, okay, so you mentioned the standard operating procedures, SOP. I've got my own SOP, and that is standardize, optimize, and proprietary, which means standardize everything you do based on the rule of three, optimize it, which means don't just check boxes, keep refining it, tweaking it, and then make it yours, make it proprietary. It's literally an intellectual property that has immense value. So with that, talk to us about how you organize and memorialize all of this. Like, obviously, when you have your meetings and you identify things that you need to adjust, where does that all go and how organized is it? Could you put that in the hands of a temp, where a temp could say, okay, this is how you onboard a client. I can actually do this. Like, take us into that a little bit.
Well, I think to start, for us, it really begins with workflows and making sure that we have a kind of a systemic process. Again, to your point, if somebody walked in off the street, there's a template, there's a workflow for, for just about everything that we do. And we realized, after, going for so long, that we had lots of workflows set up for the onboarding process. And we needed more workflows to kind of help us champion the service side once the clients are on board. Right. So, for us, when we realize, are there gaps here where a client is, like, to use a simple example, like collecting a driver's license and, on an onboarding process, there's not a workflow step for that. But, we want, again, it has to be repeatable. If we're not here and somebody else is stepping into that role, are they going to be able to understand how we work? Now, that relates to like kind of the more methodical, the processes. But I'd say we're doing, a lot of work right now just on kind of at a higher level. You say, your question was, how do we memorialize like processes? Well, first we had to go back and look at what that process document looked like. How do we describe it? It's like, we almost had to sit back and like write it in like, in just free speech. It's like a confidence first to say, like, how would we describe it if a client was sitting across the table from us? And then we had to kind of crystallize that to something that we literally could hand them. This is what your expectations are. This is what you should expect by coming on board with us. And so, I take that question two ways. There's one that's kind of the core internal processes that the client doesn't see, but it makes us more efficient, right? It helps us turn around things a lot faster. The client, doesn't necessarily have to be in the weeds on all of our workflow steps, but if we're executing them, then the client experience is going to be better.